I'm Ken Jones. I'm the author of these two books, Pier Fishing in California First Edition and Pier Fishing in California Second Edition, which is kind of known as the Bible for California pier fishing. I'm also, you might say, the head pier rat for the Pier Rat Nation. And we have a website, pierfishing.com. It's been around since 1997. And that's where the pier rats post their reports, and if they want to find out something about a pier or about a fish, they go to that website. We're hoping these videos help people enter into the world of the Pier Rat Nation. It'll help you become a better angler and hopefully have a little bit of fun watching what we're doing out on the piers. One of the questions I'm also asked sometimes, a lot of people, you know, they're always in search of the biggest fish. So they say, you know, what's the biggest fish you caught, or what's the biggest fish that you've seen caught on a pier? When I was young, I was into that too a little bit. But as I gotten older, I'm not really worried about the size of the fish. I've caught some pretty good size. Most of the fish I don't even weigh, the big ones. Most of the fish I release. I have caught some perch, big perch up close to about almost 4 pounds, which is big for a perch. I've caught striped bass on piers over 20 pounds. Bat rays, I've had them, I really didn't weigh them, but I know they were like over 50 pounds. Halibut, I've caught some about, I think on the pier, about the biggest are right around 28 inches, something like that, maybe 30 inches. And of course some big bonita. Back in the 60s especially, when I was growing up, there were a lot of big bonitas, 6-8 pound bonita off the piers. And people would have two rods set up. They have a rod set up to fish for halibut, and they have a rod set up to fish for bonita. And as soon as a school of bonita showed up, they would typically grab their bonita rod and start casting out their bonita feathers behind all kinds of splashers, they called them. Some were wooden, some were styrofoam. Anyway, the splashers to create a disturbance to try to attract the bonita. So they caught a lot of big bonita. Caught some big shovel nose. Probably the biggest I've caught is, not that big probably, maybe like about 20 pounds. And of course, you know, occasionally a decent sized shark. Did catch a decent sized salmon up off of the B Street Pier up in the Crescent City. Then they say, well, what's the biggest fish you've seen caught? Well, I've seen some huge bat rays caught. I'm sure went over 100 pounds. And we've seen that at Goleta Pier. I saw one at Gaviota Pier. Saw one down Manhattan Beach Pier. And of course several up in the Bay Area. Seven gill sharks, I haven't seen too many, but I have seen a couple that were, you know, over 6 foot. As far as halibut, I think the biggest halibut was one, I think was at, actually at Santa Monica. It went over 30 inches. It was a real nice sized halibut. Big perch, not too many big rockfish. Rockfish on piers are typically smaller. I have seen some real nice lingcod caught off of piers up in Northern California. Probably went over 10 pounds. I mean, they get really huge, but I've seen them on piers over 10 pounds. And big cabezon, some cabezon in the 8 to 10 pound range. Of course, striped bass. Striped bass, you'll see some in the Bay Area piers, you know, exceeding 40 pounds. And I've seen some really large striped bass caught. And I've seen some large sturgeon. Biggest ones are usually caught out in boats, but I've seen quite a few. They have a now if you catch too small or too large, you have to release them. But back in the day when you could keep the big ones, I saw some really large ones caught some of the Bay Area piers. And like I said, most of the biggest fish you're going to see on the piers are going to be the sharks and the rays. And of course, a lot of guys specialize in that. And of course, nowadays a lot of guys specialize in thresher sharks. So I've seen thresher sharks, 8 to 9 feet thresher sharks on various piers, Huntington Beach, Malibu, Ocean Beach. So some pretty good sized fish there. And then the one special kind of fish that you don't see a lot of piers on the coast you do see a Catalina, is you catch some decent size sheephead at Catalina at the mole, and I've seen some pretty good sized sheephead caught off the mole. So most of the biggest fish are caught on boats, just because it's deeper water. That's where a lot of the biggest fish are at. But you can catch them really, especially really large rays and sharks off the piers. And I didn't catch them, and I didn't see them caught, but I remember one time fishing at the Green Pleasure Pier in Catalina and looking down in the water and staring at about a 250-pound black sea bass swimming just calmly along right underneath the pier. Just as clear as anything. The water was crystal clear. We saw him. We didn't hook him. Didn't even try to hook him. But he was just swimming along. Then later that same day, a couple hours later, here came this bat ray. They just was swimming along right underneath the pier there at Green Pleasure Pier in Avalon Harbor. So there are some really big fish by the piers. Most of the time you don't know it, or if somebody hooks them, they just hook them and they break off. And of course, the last 10 years, there have been a lot of great white sharks hooked off of piers in Southern California. Some of the piers like Oceanside, San Clemente, they're almost common. So many have been hooked. And an increasing number of big giant sea bass, also called black sea bass, have been hooked. They're not legal to keep. They've been illegal for a number of years, I think 30 years or something. But they're making a comeback, and so I've seen a lot of black sea bass being caught. Luckily, the people are releasing them. There's a story like at Oceanside. I know the guys there. If a guy hooks a white sea bass, a black sea bass, or he hooks a big great white shark, they'll actually go out to the end. A guy will climb down from the top of the pier to where the fish is at and cut the line as close as they can to the fish, so they don't have this long line streaming out. And so it's pretty good conservation. And a couple other fish I should have mentioned, I forgot to mention. In Southern California, Corvina, shortfin Corvina, they've been making an appearance. They started in San Diego Harbor, South Harbor, because the water's warmer. They've now expanded out all the way up past Oceanside. And so you'll see an increasing numbers of those, and they get pretty decent size. And a fish that isn't that big, but it's a lot of fun, and I've caught 3 now, is what they call the Cortez bonefish. Doesn't get as big as the bonefish in the Bahamas, but it's fairly common in South San Diego Bay. And I've caught them on 2 different piers, the Dana Harbor Point Pier and the Embarcadero Marina Pier in San Diego. And they're a blast to catch. These aren't very big. Most of them are about 15, 16 inches long, but they fight like heck. And one more species that kind of neat to catch. So a lot of interesting, and I'm at a point now where I'm not looking for big fish, I'm looking for new species. I've caught 131 species. Several of them are pretty rare, or at least uncommon. And I'm at 128 piers, 131 species, so whenever I get a new pier, and I'm going to go to one this week actually, Long Beach, I would also like to hope to catch a new species to keep that list growing. It's pretty, I'm not sure anybody's caught as many different species from California piers as I have. There are people that specialize in trying to catch as many species as they can on the list, and they go around the world doing that. But I doubt if any of them have caught 131 species on a California pier. So I'm always looking for more. Okay, we hope that you watch our pier fishing videos. We have 2 aims. One aim is to educate people how to be better anglers. And secondly, we hope you entertain you a little bit. Hope you enjoyed these films. Watch the films. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And keep watching.